Ace Bailey and his camp, Daryl Morey and the Sixers. That trio alone is so unpredictable, you can't even expect what's going to happen next. But why am I saying all this? I'm sure you guys have all seen all the reports and speculation that's going on around Ace Bailey's camp and what's this and what's that. But I'm here to tell you that I think that doesn't matter. And I think Daryl Morey is already firm in his draft decision. And I'm going to explain to you why. But in wake of all this, Ace Bailey's meant to throw the first pitch for the Nets against the Phillies on Tuesday. And you have the report saying Ace Bailey's camp want him to be on the East Coast, which again, technically Philly is in the East Coast, but specifically want him to be in New York. So it's quite coincidental you decide to throw the first pitch at the Mets game. It's a bit suspicious to me, but I'm going to tell you this, Ace Bailey's agency, that doesn't matter, because all of this smoke you're putting out there isn't going to deter teams from picking you, and I'm going to tell you why. I feel like fans are overvaluing the factor of his agents don't want him to go here and don't want him to go there, because guess what? When you draft a rookie, they are basically stuck at your organization for the next 5 years. They're not going to refuse to play. It's just not going to happen. And someone with that level of talent, you're going to pick anyway, because guess what? When he actually gets to the organization, it's his best interest to put in 110%, start performing and get acclimated to the environment so he can develop and get his next contract. So for that reason, all the smoke that's going on around Ace Bailey doesn't want to be here. He's still going to be picked by the organization that best believes in his upside and ability and what he can add to the table now. And that's not going to change anything. And that's why I'm making this video. I firmly believe that Daryl Morey is still going to pick him at 3. Now, granted, Daryl stays at 3 because there's reports that obviously he wanted to potentially look into trading up, which would obviously mean selecting Dylan Harper. And it looks increasingly unlikely that he's going to trade down. We're going to stay firm at 3. And I'm going to give you 2 logical reasons why I think he's going to stay at 3. Number 1, Quentin Grimes. Now, how does this have any correlation to why we're going to pick Ace Bailey? There's other prospects out there. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, other than the guards available like VJ Edgecombe, I feel like Ace Bailey is better than the other players, or has better upside than the other players available by quite a landslide, especially around that range anyway. But that's not the point. The roster currently has Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey, 2 major building blocks of the now and the future, and Quentin Grimes, who's now balled out. Now, you see one thing about Quentin Grimes. The Sixers have his bird rights, which means that we can match any offer, as well as offer him an offer sheet that will make us go well over the salary cap, which is already over, and go into the second apron. If the Sixers now let Quentin Grimes walk, we can't then use the allocated money we would have used on Quentin Grimes to sign someone else. That's just a hole in the roster now. So if Daryl Morey really wants to compete, which he's going to, because Quentin Grimes is a great addition to this team, whether it's a reduced role, he can shoot, create, and defend, and it's a hell of a rebounder too at his size. When you keep Quentin Grimes around, that's now 3 guards in your rotation, and I would say quite undersized guards. It wouldn't make sense to then draft a small guard in VJ Edgecombe, because then he's not going to play that much. Or you have 4 to 5 guards who deserve legit rotational minutes who can't play. So what are you most likely going to do? You're going to select someone with more size like an Ace Bailey who can play the 3 position, because then you can accommodate more bodies, versus you draft VJ Edgecombe, you let Quentin Grimes potentially walk, and then you have a hole in the roster which you can't add on to. As even if you let Quentin Grimes walk, you don't get the money you would have spent on him added onto your cap space, because we're already over the cap threshold anyway. We would have used his bird rights and gone into the second apron. So you're essentially, potentially, either drafting VJ Edgecombe, letting Quentin Grimes walk, so you're losing a player, but you draft VJ, or you draft VJ and keep Quentin Grimes. VJ is not going to be able to develop, and in my opinion, he's quite a raw prospect who needs minutes, but there's too many guards who are getting minutes. Or alternatively, you can draft Ace Bailey, which doesn't affect you re-signing Quentin Grimes. They also don't contradict each other, as they're 2 different types of players and they play 2 different types of positions. So you get to keep both, develop Ace, and still contend for the now, because your team is deeper and makes a lot more sense. That's exactly why I'm a firm believer of, I don't know or care about what tactics Ace Bailey's agency or agent Ron, whoever the hell his name is, Sharif Cooper's dad is trying to do. But it's not going to deter a guy like Daryl Morey from picking you. Daryl's dealt with difficult situations, and whether you like him or not, he handled the Ben Simmons situations as best as a GM could do. Because even though we can look back and say we shouldn't have got James Harden, he wanted James Harden and he got what he wanted. He's not going to fold under that kind of pressure. He's not then going to potentially fumble a generational wing if that's how he views Ace Bailey, because his agent's trying to get him in New York. Who gives a hell? Just because this is being more documented because of the top 3 pick, do you know how many times players decline workouts from teams and still get drafted by them? That doesn't matter. If you believe in their potential and you know what they're going to add to this team, you pick that player 9 times out of 10. And Ace Bailey is a guy that, yes, you can question his shot selection, or for those fans who like to nitpick, his handle isn't the best. But guess what? When you've got Jared, Tyrese, if Paul George is healthy, Paul George, Joel Embiid, he's not going to have that many opportunities to handle the ball and create off the dribble. It's going to be a lot of catch and shoot, one dribble pull-up, coming off pin downs, cutting back door. That's actually what he's very good at already. So imagine being able to build on that, whilst in the odd game here and there where inevitably Paul George and Joel Embiid are going to be out, so he's going to get more touches on off the rock. That's when he gets to build on his creation off the dribble a bit more and maybe tidy up his handle and tidy up his shots. That's going to happen naturally because in a system, he's going to have to take less ill-advised shots and more high percentage shots. So that's naturally going to clean up his shot diet. And you can't look too much into percentages because on one hand, you can't say his shot selection is so bad. But if his shot selection is this bad and he loves taking tough shots and he's still shooting above 45% from the field, imagine what he's going to shoot in an actual controlled system. And I know that's not necessarily how the NBA and basketball works, but if you kind of look at it from that scope, there's a lot of potential here and the fit is seamless. Now, Paul George is here. For all you know, Paul George has a stellar season, but we still don't get over the hump. However, him having a good season makes him a bit more, let's say, potentially tradable, even though he's going to be a year older. Even if you do have to move off Paul George and you're able to do so in a year's time because it doesn't work out, you have that reassurance in Ace Bailey that he can fit that role. I think us as Sixers fans are forgetting, for the past 10 years, us as fans have been crying out for a wing who can create and is dynamic because we were stuck watching Tobias Harris. Now you have an opportunity to draft one and you're saying no. How could you? Because guess what? You can pick up a guard in free agency. You can pick up even a backup guard who provides that kind of scoring. For wings, it's different because for wings, you get a lot of 3-and-D guys. But to get a guy who has the potential to literally create off the dribble, score on every level of the floor, and just be so dynamic at 6'7", 6'8", you don't find that. So you have the opportunity to draft that at number 3. You don't pass up on that opportunity. You just don't. Especially after the years of terror watching Tobias Harris posting up from the wing. Now, I'm not doing that no more. You've got an actual wing who can be on the timeline of Jared McCain and semi-Tyrese Maxey for the next 5 to 6 years. You take that opportunity. And I know Daryl Morey is a smart man. He's going to do that. Now, if Daryl doesn't pick Ace Bailey, it's going to be because he doesn't want to pick Ace Bailey. Not because of what's going on. Because I'm going to tell you this. Ace Bailey originally declined to work out of the Sixers, then eventually accepted another workout. Daryl didn't go, well, you declined to work out the first time, we still don't want to work you out. The opportunity and invitation was still there. Now, there's rumours that he wanted a guarantee, which you're just not going to get because at this stage, there might be a prospect who comes in at VJ who might have another visit and impress the staff so much that you pick him. There's no point in giving guarantees when you're even not sure. However, even with the reports saying that Daryl was still interested in picking him regardless of him not accepting the workout, I think that's valid because his potential is so high. And all of these draft antics are going to be forgotten in a year's time once he's had a stellar rookie season, wins Rookie of the Year and whatever. That doesn't matter. The start of their career and how they get drafted doesn't matter. You almost forget Tyrese Maxey was picked 21 because that was a lifetime ago. My point is, pre-draft antics don't matter. It's the talent, the potential, and the fit. And they all seamlessly fit the same. And Daryl, and this is the biggest thing, what is Daryl's draft tactic? Well, I know he says Elton Brand's in charge of it, but he says pick the best player available. And that's by far Ace Bailey. So based on everything he said, there's no way he passes on him. Now, we're going to have to deal with the rubbish that's going on. We're going to have to deal with the agent doing this, that, and the third. But you need to really read in between the lines. Ace Bailey's agent reportedly wanted a promise from the Sixers. Out of all the teams he had invitations from, he at least accepted the Sixers workout. Now, I'm not a big fan of this entitlement after, but there's clearly a mutual interest in him being in Philly, and he just wants a guarantee. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to be here. So yeah, we're not going to give him the guarantee. But if Daryl thinks it's right, when Adam Silver walks up to the podium and says, with the 3rd pick, the Philadelphia 76ers select, he's going to call out Ace Bailey's name if that's what Daryl Morey thinks is the best decision for this ball club. So regardless, he's going to suit up here. It's not a matter of him not wanting to be here. He just wants that privilege of knowing that, yeah, I'm definitely going here, which he's not going to get. But if he gets selected, he's going to ball out and he's going to give his all. So that's not a problem. I know Daryl Morey doesn't care about any of this. That's why I'm saying Ace Bailey's going to be a sixer, whether you, the fans, like it or not, and we're going to have to get over this kind of grudge with Develop because of the way his agency's handled this, because I don't agree with it. But once he gets drafted, that's a clean slate, because guess what? He has to prove himself in Summer League and carve out a role in his team, because Justin Edwards ain't going nowhere. Let's not forget, Justin Edwards can play. And he's not just going to walk into minutes over Justin Edwards, because he's shown a lot of signs to be a great player too. So what am I trying to say? I'm not saying what I would do, even though I would take Ace Bailey regardless. I'm saying what I think is going to be done based on how Daryl Morey sees the game and sees prospect analysis and how he's kind of spoken about it. So that's my personal opinion. I think Ace Bailey, if that's who he wants, that's who he's going to get. And all this external stuff does not matter at all. But I want to hear you guys' opinion. What do you make of the Ace Bailey saga in air quotes? Are you not a big fan of it? Would you pass on him completely because of this behaviour and these antics? Or would you just bite the bullet and take him anyway? Or alternatively, do you think there's another prospect like a VJ Edgecombe who fits better and you think can be a better addition to this team? Let me know in the comment section down below. But thank you so much, guys, for thank you guys so much for listening to this video. I've been gone for a while, but I'm officially back. Take care, like, subscribe, and most importantly, stay blessed, my people. And I'm out. Peace.